following show is for entertainment purposes only and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of Empire Media LLC, its subsidiaries, affiliates, sponsors, and advertisers.
Welcome, citizens of the world. This is episode number 5 of the Houslander and Ferretti Hour. I'm Josh Houslander, here with Rudy Ferretti. How's it going, Rudy?
I'm doing great. It's been a couple of weeks. We got a lot to cover. We're going to talk about some freaky food tonight. We're going to talk about some more politics as usual. We're going to get into gaming, and we're going to get into some paranormal activity information tonight.
Cool beans, man. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to a little bit different show than what we've done in the past. We're trying to stay a little more positive. It was our New Year's resolution. It's hard to do. Can't always be positive, but it's kind of what we were talking about at the end of the year. So we're gonna, we're growing as people, aren't we, Rudy? We're moving ahead.
Trying to. I mean,
from the negativity that originally spawned this show, and just trying to make it a fun show and talk about cool, fun stuff.
Yeah. There's still going to be negativity, but it just won't be about anybody in particular. I mean, you got snowflakes and cornflakes we got to talk about, and other issues. So, I wanted to ask you, you ever eat anything like kind of like strange, like where you make something and everybody looks at you and they're like, "What the hell is that?" It makes no sense.
Yeah. Yes, I definitely. No, that is definitely me. I feel like you and I probably both eat strange things, but I feel like we would think each other's thing is strange, because I know you eat healthy, right?
I eat healthy, but when I have my junk, I eat what the hell I want, but I try to make it myself.
Right on, okay. Because I'm kind of like I'm like one of those iron stomach kind of just like eat anything kind of guy. I'm not known for, definitely not known for eating healthy, but I know you've been kind of, I don't know if you've been getting some grief or just kind of getting some weird looks lately with some of the stuff you've been throwing together. What are you talking about with your weird food?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Unfortunately, I've been going through some bad patches at the moment with my digestion. I don't know why, because I eat good, take care of myself. I don't eat fast food 7 days a week like some people out there. I take care of myself, and unfortunately, it's not just bad food that makes you, get heartburn issues or digestive issues. It can be healthy food too, because it comes down to what spice you're eating, what makes your body, tick in a bad way. So I've been, eating a lot more plain stuff these days. But what I've been doing is when I want to eat my junk, I've been making some freaky stuff lately. And I took out my spinach tortillas the other day, and I put Pink Lady apples on there.
Spinach tortillas. Those are just like the tortilla,
spinach wraps.
Tortilla shells that are green.
Spinach wraps, yeah. I usually use them to make sandwiches. So I took it out. I put the natural peanut butter on there. Not that really makes much of a difference. I put apples, Pink Lady apples. I put this orange blueberry marmalade, natural one, natural sugar cane instead of high fructose corn syrup. So I put that on there. And I put a little bit of honey. Yeah, a little bit of honey. And then, which really good honey, by the way, like the expensive shit. And then I throw cinnamon on there so I don't get a friggin' sugar spike, Prevents you from getting that diabetes. And I gotta say, it was pretty damn good. A couple of people said I was out of my mind for eating such a thing, but you're not tasting the spinach, dude. You're getting all your sugar rush out of there. And it was really good.
It doesn't sound terrible to me. I'm not into it. It wouldn't be my thing. I'm more of a. Do you eat meat? Are you a vegetarian?
No, I'm definitely not a vegetarian by any means.
I didn't think so.
No, I'm more vegan than most people. I do eat lots of fruits and vegetables, but I can't call myself vegan technically. If you want to be politically correct, I can't call myself vegan because vegans eat how vegans eat. So, but I do put a lot of vegan products into my diet.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because that is so not me. And you what? You don't drink. You don't smoke. You don't. I mean, you're a healthy guy, right?
Yeah, pretty healthy. When I eat my junk, I eat my junk. I eat pizza. But I try to make it at home. I try to make pizza at home. I try to make my Chinese food at home. I go to Trader Joe's and I'll buy the prepackaged chicken, but I won't use the whole sauce packet. But I have some other freaky things I do too. Sometimes I'll take the yogurt sauce, the one that you get for like tzatziki sauce for gyros and stuff, and I'll dip my pizza in that. I'll eat pizza with the tzatziki sauce, the yogurt sauce.
Gross.
I even put pickles on pizza sometimes.
I put pickles on pizza.
Well, there you go. And you know what a lot...
As well, yeah.
Well, a lot of people...
In fact, one of the reasons, sometimes I go to Subway.
Yeah.
And, at least the Subways around here, it's not real, like, a big prevalent part of their menu, but you can get a little personal pizza at Subway instead of a sub.
Oh, interesting.
And I like it because then you can get a bunch of, veggies and stuff on there, and you can get pickles on it.
Interesting.
And I always get pickles on my pizza doing that. And one of the reasons I do that is because I'm cheap. Super cheap. So when I order a pizza from home, I'm like one of those guys that, like, if I get a pizza, I want, like, a garbage can pizza. I want everything on it.
Okay.
I want it topped with everything.
Yeah.
But I'm too cheap to pay for individual toppings when it's something like, just like a veggie.
Okay.
And to me, that's just a ripoff to get a pizza and to pay a full topping price.
Right.
Pay $1.50 extra to get green pepper on your pizza.
Yeah.
How much does a green pepper cost at a store? And you're going to pay, $1.50 or something for them to throw a handful of green pepper slices?
Right, when you can put the whole...
I just won't do it. That's dumb to me. So, but then you go to Subway, and it's just like their, like their sandwiches. The meat is what costs you something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get, pepperoni and bacon on it.
Sure.
And then, all the veggies are free, whatever you want. So I'm like, all right, load it up. Green peppers, onions, pickles, jalapenos, mild peppers, just load it up. So then I got this brimming pizza. And it's pretty good. Not bad. Not bad. Actually, my youngest daughter loves that, too, and that's when she wanted some weird stuff on pizza a little while ago. That was, like, her birthday dinner.
Well...
I got her, like, a pizza from Subway with some, like, really goofy stuff on it.
Hey, when your kids can eat just about anything. I'll tell you a funny thing. I saw a Three Stooges episode, and they gave me this idea, and I did try it. I know I'm crazy. I tried two things, actually. I tried honey and ketchup and bologna and whipped cream. And believe it or not, they're both just fine. There's no weird taste to either one of them. People could say, oh, that sounds disgusting, but honey and ketchup, it goes just fine. There really is nothing to it. I've taken a piece of toast or a bagel, put it in the toaster oven, and I put honey and ketchup on it, and really, there's no nasty, overtaste to it or anything. You can't even really tell.
Jeez. Dude, I'm going to have to take your word for it on that one.
Yeah, well, I only tried it.
I don't think I'm going to try that.
Well, I only tried it because Mo said, if there's anything I like better than honey and ketchup, it's bologna and whipped cream. So I was like, okay, let me try it,
Actually, what's strange? My grandfather used to do that. And I think he just did it more to be stubborn or to, make a point than anything else. But he was big into, if you like it, you like it. What's the big deal? What you eat it with? It all goes to the same place. He used to say that forever. It all goes to the same place. What's the difference? It all goes to the same place. And so he would do stuff like he would take chocolate chip cookies and dip it in French onion dip.
Yeah, okay, that's a little bit too much.
Like, what? You like French onion dip, don't you? Yeah, I do. You like chocolate chip cookies, don't you? Yeah, what's the difference? And grab one and take a big...
Yeah, he's right that it does all go in the same place, but putting it together right away like that is totally different than actually consuming, say...
That's what I think, too, but he's higher of that.
I mean, chips and onion dip is one thing, and then to have the cookies separate, I get that. And when I say separate, you could still have it in the same meal, but you eat your chips and onion dip and then have your cookies, I don't know.
My grandfather was just one of those guys, one of those old timers. He pretty much just ate cigarettes for lunch and ate cigars for lunch and just washed it down with a Budweiser and lived to be like 1,000. So
I know, it makes you wonder, right? I mean, do you have to fucking be fucked up to live forever, or do you just have to be healthy? I mean, which one is it? Or is it in between?
Right. I mean, that's kind of how he was. He was just like, he could live off of, Frosted Flakes and, mayonnaise or something, but that was how he was. But he was a tough old Marine. He didn't care about that stuff.
Well, I'll tell you, I was warned, about a decade ago, and very great doctor, and he warned me, and he was right. He told me that if I continued doing what I was doing, even though I was taking care of myself, you gotta remember, he was telling me, just because I take care of myself, the bottom line is there's certain things you cannot eat, he goes, Rudy. And I'm like, why? I'm like, I couldn't take it. It was very tough for me. It was like being pregnant and not being able to eat what you want to eat, And he was like, you're not going to have no more soda pop. You're not going to have anything spicy. So I was like, all right, fuck this, right? So he gave me this product called SFX, and it did really well for me for a long time and everything. But then this year I started taking it again for the first time in almost 10 years, and I started having peripheral neuropathy issues, and that's caused by it kills off all the sodium, all the calciums, and all your vitamins in your body. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to kill myself with this. I'm going to go off the medicine and try to do something more natural. So now I have to make a diary basically to figure out, or a journal to figure out what the hell I can and cannot eat. And it's very tough because say you take a sip of something. Does that burn your chest? No. You eat this. Did this bother your chest? But then what happens 10 minutes later when your chest starts to burn? Was it caused by something you ate from 30 minutes ago? How do you know? It's not good.
Yeah, man, I guess I am blessed. I'm truly blessed because I just don't have any of those issues, man.
Yet.
I'm like one of those guys. I eat like blazing wings, and I eat from Buffalo Wild, and I eat a stack of 10 from White Castle. And people are always saying like, oh, geez, how do you? I'm not somebody that can eat a ton. I mean, sometimes I can. I take out like everybody else. I'm not one of those guys that just like is always eating. I'm kind of like what'd you have for dinner last night, Josh? Oh, I don't know. Let me try to think. Let me try to remember. A couple pretzel sticks, I think. What I mean? I'm more like one of those guys.
Well, that might be why you don't have a problem compared to me. See, it's not about what I eat. I eat too much of whatever I eat.
Oh, right. Well, that could have something to do with it. But I really am. I'm like, people are like, oh my God, how do you eat White Castle? How do you eat sliders? I mean, God, aren't you? Don't you feel that in the next morning? How do you eat habanero spiced stuff? Doesn't that bug you? And it doesn't.
No.
It doesn't. It just doesn't bug me. I can kind of just eat whatever, and it's what it is. But that's because a lot of times I make a lot of I got 4 kids, so sometimes I'm making stuff for them, and it's like, well. What'd you have for dinner last night? It's like, what did I have?
Yeah.
Crap, I think I had a Snickers bar and, a Bud Light. And then, I'm like, oh, geez, what'd you eat for breakfast? Oh, geez, I don't know, a cup of coffee and a couple of Marlboros. I'm not really sure, I'm just, I'm like that. So I should be healthier. I'm getting older. I should be healthier.
Yeah.
But, I did go for physical this year, and, I'm good. I'm healthy.
Yeah, I try to do, everything right, but again, I do love my junk food too, once a week, sometimes twice a week if I work out really hard at the gym, but I will tell you this, I was fine for almost the last decade. Even though I was supposed to be on the medication and everything, I was doing great, eating what I wanted to eat, taking the supplements like apple cider vinegar and stuff to kill off, the excess acid because they say that part of that is caused by not enough acid, and everything was good. All of a sudden, though, boom, at the end of this year, boom, I started having burning and pains in my chest. And I'm like, oh my God, what's this? So I go to the hospital, blah, 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 I get checked, make sure everything's good. And it comes and goes, but I have it under control now. But a few weeks ago, it was not under control. It was not.
Really?
No, it was bad.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it was really bad. I was like eating and it would just come, everything would just bother me. Plain stuff, I was fine. But, and the weird thing is, if I took a sip of apple cider vinegar, it didn't make it worse, so it can't be anything serious. Like, I can't have a hole in my chest or my stomach, because if I did, I would be, jumping through the roof. So, what's telling me, it's more of like an upset issue. It can't be anything serious. Otherwise, it would kill going down, literally. Just think about it. Putting acid into your esophagus. If there's damage or your stomach, you're done. You're gonna, you're gonna be killed. You're gonna be like, ah. So. That's
I do this show with you. You're into this stuff, and then I do, the X-Cast with Adam Hernandez.
Yeah.
And he's I don't know if he's a health nut, but he's a vegetarian, and and a strict one. He's not a vegan, but he's a strict vegetarian, and I just I hear you say this, I hear Adam say this, and I think it's cool that you guys do it to some degree. I really do. I think it's cool, but I'm just like, when I hear somebody saying this, I'm like, why do you do this to yourself? Like, I just don't understand why. I get it, you got cultural reasons, you got, everybody's got their own reasons, and any reason is a good reason because it's, your body and it's your,
Well,
it's your plan, so you do what you want. But I'm like, man, I don't like to limit what I can eat. I just want to eat what I eat. And luckily, thus far in my life, I've been able to just eat what I want and stay pretty good. I mean, I'm active though. I'm a pretty active guy, so that's probably one of the reasons why I can pull off some of the things I eat.
Maybe, but as active as I am, it's not helping me. And keep in mind though, don't kid yourself. As healthy as I eat, when I eat my junk, I eat my junk. Like tonight, because I friggin' cooked 4 nights in a row. Tonight, I'm probably gonna pop out the General Tso's chicken. Okay, I'm gonna use a quarter of the packet of the shit that comes with it, which is so loaded with sodium and all that other crap. Then I mix that with water. Okay, and then I put that into my pan and I steam that chicken, okay? I don't fry it. I steam it. So mostly water is going to be steaming that chicken. You get a little flavor of the orange, the orangey, General Tso's. And the same thing I do with the dumplings. I put water in the pan and I let it steam them. I don't put that, and then the same thing with the rice. And I put lemon all over it and shit like that. And some...
That's your junk night?
That'll be my junk night tonight. That'll be...
Oh, come on, man.
Dude, it's junk. There's a lot of sodium and shit in those fucking rice bags and that fucking...
No. Meal night is a pizza.
Yeah, I have that too.
is, 4 or 5 sliders from Arby's. Junk night is when you throw down, a 22-ounce Bud Light and a Snickers bar. I mean, that's junk night.
Well, my blood pressure the other night was 104/68, and I'm very proud of that. Being 37 years old and all the shit I've gone through, I'm very lucky. And believe me, when you eat shit like that you're talking about, don't ever take your blood pressure, because then you might have a stroke just thinking about it, because your blood pressure, I guarantee, will be 160/110 when you eat like that. It's just the way it is.
I'm telling you, man, last time I went to the doctor, my blood pressure is good, my cholesterol good. I think I'm just lucky. I think I just got good genes.
Sometimes that does work, but remember, it can catch up with you eventually. I'm not telling you what to do, but...
It can, and I've had people in my family die young, so I should be more mindful of this stuff.
Yeah,
Do you know what I do? Do you know what I do that's so bad?
What's that?
This is so bad, and people see me do this, and they're like, dude, what is wrong with you?
What is it?
Is for a snack.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I'll get, fast food.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get, extra... I put tons of salt and pepper on everything.
Oh, God. On top of what you just...
do.
Yeah,
I put tons of salt and pepper on stuff.
Yeah, you're lucky, man.
And what I'll do sometimes is, after we're done eating, I'll take a couple of the salt packets.
Yeah.
From the fast food, the little paper salt packets.
Yeah.
And I'll just kind of put them in my mouth, kind of like how people, chew tobacco.
Oh, my God.
But I'll just put the salt packets in there, and then you just kind of get, just kind of chew it a little bit or suck on it a little bit, kind of get that extra salt for a while, and then you just kind of, when you're done, just chew it up and spit out that, the empty paper.
We had some...
But the salt, seeps through.
I didn't think you were that crazy, man. My God, I had a friend that used to do the same type of thing you do purposely to make money. People would be if you do this, I'll give you $1 or $2. And it added up, Everybody would give him money. He would take fucking sugar packets at McDonald's when we used to eat McDonald's as kids. I don't go to McDonald's no more. Make my own McDonald's. But he would go in there and he would eat straight sugar. The fucking packet, and put it in his mouth and just spill it down his mouth and down his throat.
My cousin and I used to have pickle juice drinking contests.
Oh, God.
That was something we used to do when we were younger. That was always cool. If you want, check out his podcast on pro wrestling on Wednesday nights.
I'm gonna...
You know what? I don't even have that information from me. I shouldn't have said that because I don't have his info. But next time we're on here, I'll plug that show for real.
It's okay, but I was going to tell you, speaking of pickle juice, I'm going to try that because I know a lot of people say they do that for sore throats. I wonder if that'll help with my heartburn. The reason I say that is because, remember, it is acidic, but they say that most of the time with heartburn issues, you don't have enough acid. So I'm going to try it and see what the hell happens. I haven't tried that yet. I mean, I've been trying a lot of different things. Aloe, licorice chews, special licorice, not the crap that you buy over the counter. Really healthy licorice chews without the chemicals in it, especially no anise.
Yeah, my wife gets those for my kids.
Yeah, and it's good.
Those organic ones.
Yeah. That's what I got. And then I was taking melatonin too. But melatonin makes you so goddamn sleepy, and even if you take it at night before you go to sleep, then you don't want to stay awake. And speaking of sleep, I've been getting into my horror stuff again. I've always been a horror fanatic. What about you? Have you been a horror fanatic?
I like horror stuff, but the thing is with me, I like horror, but I love the old stuff. I love the old monster movies.
Me too.
I love the stuff that startles you. I love the the monster type thing. What I am not that crazy about is some of the new age stuff, which I know it's kind of like the Asian horror movies have kind of melded with the American ones, and you get the really disturbing stuff.
Yeah.
I've never been big on that. I don't like the Saw movies. I don't like the super disturbing stuff. I like scary. I like creepy. I like monsters, and I like I like stuff like that. I love Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers.
Sure.
And stuff like that, the cheesy stuff too. But and even Cape Fear and movies like that, from back in the day. But that kind of super creepy. But I don't like the disturbing stuff.
Well, what about, for instance, I used to watch, and I used to laugh my ass off. I don't laugh anymore like I used to, but I used to watch Unsolved Mysteries as a kid, okay? You ever watch
I love that show.
Yeah, exactly. I used to laugh my ass off at all those ghost stories. But as you get older and you get wiser, you start to realize these things are not always bullshit. And I've been watching on Destination America lately some paranormal and haunted house stuff on haunting and stuff like that. And I gotta say, not only do I believe those stories are all real, but I gotta tell you about some of them that really irked me, and I've been watching them, and I watch them late at night too. I'm out of my mind, I'm watching them in my bed, I've got a mirror next to me and whatnot, and other people are not awake when I'm watching them, so I don't really have any protection, so
Right.
I'm sitting there and I'm watching I'm gonna tell you about an episode I watched last night, and then I want to hear one of your stories. I watched an episode last night, and I'm thinking oh, it's just a typical, ghost story. So the guy asks this woman to marry him and everything. It seems like one of those typical love stories, right? Everything's all great and everything. And gives her the ring and says, this is our dream house. I inherited it from my family and a bunch of money and stuff. So she's all excited, right? And she's a good woman. She's not a gold digger. So all of a sudden, this woman starts appearing around the house. And when push comes to shove, she's like, okay, I've done my investigation, who is this woman? He found a picture of the same woman in his wallet one night when he came home. And he was like, I should have told you, my wife, she died here in this house. She's like, you didn't tell me? And he was like, and so then she finds out, not only was it not his family's house, but he was also suspected of murdering his wife, his ex-wife. So in the middle of the night, as all these episodes are happening and the wife encounters her with the ghost and everything, telling her you'll be next, she finally shows an image of herself dead on the bottom of the staircase where she supposedly died, and then says, look in the nightstand. So I'm thinking when she goes into the nightstand, she's going to get killed by her husband because he's sleeping, right? And he's going to wake up. She finds a fucking life insurance policy that he took out for her as well for $2 million in her name and made himself the beneficiary illegally.
Oh, dang.
So she throws the fucking ring on the table, gets her stuff. They don't show everything, as you know. They never do. And she left him. And he was charged with the falsifying of the life insurance policy. It makes you wonder, did he kill his ex-wife?
Yeah. Jeez, that's crazy. What era? What year are we talking about with this? When did this happen?
It's a good question. I'm assuming it was in either the 90s or the early 2000s. The car looked pretty modern. It didn't look like that old, but you never know. Sometimes when you do reenactments, they do modern time, sometimes.
Sure.
It's hard to say, but
oh man, that's a creepy one, man.
Well, it is, because how many times do you watch the same shit and you're like, okay, yeah, some daughter goes downstairs in the basement, she's talking to Billy Madison, comes up and says, goodbye, mommy, and she's like, what do you mean goodbye? Oh, Billy told me to tell. It's always the same type of, scenario, right? A ghost sets the house on fire or something, or you see something smash and break. But this was actually a ghost that was possibly killed trying to give her a message to save her life, which usually is not what a paranormal story is about.
Right. No, it's not. It's not. Wow, that's cool. That's cool. I'm into the ghost thing. I'm into, by the way, I'm gonna halfway plug it down. I'm gonna segue into it in a little bit.
Yeah.
But, on the XCast, every second and fifth Tuesday of the month, we do our Deep Issues shows.
Mm-hmm.
And them out of the pumpkin. We got this, like the pumpkin that those little plastic ones that, kids trick or treat with.
Yeah.
One of those, and we just got like a couple of dozen of different, topics for deep issues.
Crazy.
And there, one of them is ghosts.
Yeah.
Which we have not yet pulled. We just pull them out randomly. But tomorrow night we're doing secret societies. So
Fine.
I'm guessing this show and that show will probably post right around the same time. So.
Well, what's really crazy is that, and this is the truth, and we need to tell the audience this, 99% of the time, we really don't plan much. I mean, we just go into it, and we say, okay, we might talk about this, we might not. We don't have a script. We don't write this. This is actually all basically improv, basically free your mind, and just go with the flow,
No, for sure. I mean, yeah, you and I at best, we talk about a few things like, hey, what are you going to talk about? This. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We'll fill an hour with that. And then we end up saying, oh, is that enough? And then come an hour into this, we'll be like, oh, crap, we got to go. But one thing I always say, Rudy, when you're talking about this stuff, talking about ghosts, talking about Bigfoot, talking about, I don't know, and, talking about alien conspiracies or hidden aliens, secret societies, whatever you're talking about, excuse me, whenever you're talking about that stuff,
Yeah.
the thing I always try to remind people of is, because people tend to watch stuff and be like, oh, that one's bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, that one's bullshit.
Right.
That one's junk. That one's junk. Okay. Pretend for a second that, okay, all right, all these ghost stories, pretend, let's say 90% of them are crap, right? They're made up.
Which I don't believe. I actually believe it's a lot more they're not crap, but again, I get your point, yeah.
I actually do too. I actually do too believe that it's not that many of them. But let's pretend for a second that 95% of them are absolute, contrived BS, not true. Let's pretend that that's true with the ghost stories, with the Bigfoot sightings, with the alien abductions. That's
Sure.
one. With alien conspiracies. Okay, so for argument's sake, 95 to 98% of them are completely contrived and made up. If you believe that 95% of them are contrived, you still believe in ghosts.
Right, because 5% is still there. There's still a 5% chunk, yeah.
You still believe in alien abduction. You still believe in all this stuff.
Right.
Because if 19 out of 20 people lied about seeing a legitimate ghost, either lied or were just simply wrong, lied or were mistaken about seeing a ghost, that 1 out of 20 was true, and all the ghosts don't have to be true for ghosts to be real.
Right.
If there was one real ghost out of 20, one real ghost out of 100, one real ghost out of 1,000, then ghosts are real.
Absolutely.
I think that's a really important thing to recognize when you're a hater, when you're a naysayer, when you're the person saying that these things aren't the case anymore. You do have to remember that. So vast majority of people lying about, who've been abducted by aliens are full of crap. They're liars. But if one of them was, then there really are aliens out there, and they really are abducting people, and they really are taking them up in spaceships and doing experiments. If 1 out of 100 of those people who say they saw a ghost really did run into an apparition of a dead person,
yeah,
then ghosts are real. That's that. And I think a lot of people glaze over that fact.
I will tell you another quick story. This is a true story. And then if you have a story, I want you to share as well. I stayed in a hotel one night, okay, in Palm Springs, really deep in the heart of Palm Springs, California, a celebrity-type hotel, okay? And in the middle of the night, me and this, lady were getting it on, we started to hear noises through the walls and stuff like that. Didn't think much of it. We thought maybe a couple was also getting it on or fighting or whatever. And so the noises got really loud, and we saw lights and shit like that outside of our door. So we were like, we need to get the fuck out of here. So we did our thing and got the hell out of there. Now, this is a true story. She called later to get a refund, okay, on the credit card because of all the stuff that we went through, right? They were like, what are you talking about? Nobody was here in any of those rooms. And I was like, what? So I'm on the phone, And I'm hearing this, we're starting to turn like white, as a ghost, because we're like, what do you mean there was nothing? Because, two people can't hear bullshit, right? Two people can't be crazy at the same time in the same room, you know what I mean? So there was nobody staying in that hotel. And they said there hadn't been nobody in those rooms for days. But here's the craziest thing of all. We saw a couple leave as we were going into our room. So they gave us a refund. They were like, there were no couples in our hotel. They even ran the cameras back, they said, to check. They said nobody ever left those rooms.
Really?
Saw a couple walk past us. A real couple. They weren't blue and white. They were a real couple. And they're telling us nobody was there. I was like, check the cameras. I had the time, because I remember when we checked in, we went into the room. It was like 5:18 or something in the afternoon. So I had them go back 10 minutes before, 10 minutes after. And they were like, there was no couple that ever walked past you. We see you walking into the room. Nobody ever passed you. I'm like, oh, come on. And I'm thinking like, what? How do you explain that?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, that's a weird one. I have one weird one. I have one weird story that I've actually experienced.
Yeah.
In my life. Well, you know what? I guess it's kind of, there's a couple. But to me, there's only one. I've had eerie things happen to me, but the only one I can think of in my life that it always sticks out. This is my ghost story, and it didn't even really happen to me directly.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to hunt with my dad and my grandfather. I was very lucky, my grandpa lived. He was a vibrant, great, outdoorsy guy. He was a hunter. He was an ex-Marine, World War II veteran.
Yeah.
And not many people can say this, but I got to hunt deer and hang out with my grandpa till I was in my early 30s.
Okay.
He's gone now.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Not many people get to say that they're still hunting with their grandpa when they're 32 years old.
No, it just doesn't exist, because usually they're gone, in their 70s or 80s.
But I was, that was me. He was still a vibrant,
wow,
awful dude.
Amazing.
And I would go up and for years, since I was, 18 years old, I would go up to, we just called it the farmhouse. It was my grandpa's best friend's place up north. For years and years, when he was a working guy down in Detroit, this was his wife's family's cottage. And then when he retired, he moved up there and fixed it up a little bit, and he just made it his home, way up in a place called Hale, Michigan.
Hale, Michigan. Okay.
If you don't live here, you never heard of it. Most people who live in Michigan have never heard of it. About 3 hours away from Detroit, where I live.
Okay.
And basically, we'd go up there to hunt, and it was, me and my dad and my uncles were in and out, and my grandpa and my grandpa's best friend, and then all of their old buddies.
Mm-hmm.
They're like all the good old boys that they grew up with. And there's a guy up there, always crazy old guy. I won't say his last name. He probably wouldn't care if I did, or his family probably wouldn't care if I did, but crazy old guy up there, super cool, named Bob. And he was a character, He was a crazy character, but fun guy. Super eccentric kind of guy, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Interesting.
And, I'm sure these guys were all good old boys. They were drinking beer all the time and just hanging out. They were like, your good old typical beer drinking deer hunters at night, while all this is going on. But then there was one guy up there, Harry, World War II vet, didn't drink, didn't smoke, brilliant guy, just super, just quiet, truly a great man. All these guys were good guys, but this was just a truly, a really very nice and very great man, and very serious.
American heroes, yeah.
Yeah. And one night, this guy, Bob, because this is an old farmhouse, right? And it's got the old witch's window in it, if you know what that is. Turned to the side, because supposedly it keeps the witches away.
I've never heard that term, so you just taught me something new.
Yeah, if you go up north in Michigan, which up north Michigan is a very cool place, you see a lot of those. You see the turned windows to the side, and that's called a witch's window. In essence, it's supposed to scare away the witches. But evidently it kind of needed it in this house, because this is a crazy, crazy old farmhouse. And one night, Bob, he's a couple Miller Lights in, at least, and he's telling us, he goes, I'm telling you guys, they've been hunting this place for years. He goes, you know the room upstairs in this place? Because there's like 3 different bedrooms upstairs in this farmhouse. He goes, upstairs? It's like in that. I'm telling you, man, last night there was an old woman.
Mm-hmm.
She popped out of nowhere. She's sitting in that rocking chair. And I'm telling you guys, you can say I'm crazy all you want. That woman was sitting in that damn rocking chair talking to me, trying to tell me to do stuff all night long. And they're like, Bob, shut up. You crazy old bastard. Like, cut it out. You know, all the guys at the table are just saying, Bob, cut it out. Have another beer. What's your problem, Bob? I mean, jeez. And he's like, I'm telling you, I know you guys don't believe me. I'm telling you, I don't want to sleep in that room again, man. That woman was up there all night rocking back and forth in that rocking chair. Didn't say much. She just rocking back and forth. And I'm telling you, man, I was chilled to the bone. That was the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. And everyone's like, yeah, Bob, shut up. You're nuts. Cut it out. And out of nowhere, Harry, who hadn't said anything, the guy who doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't, totally serious, totally brilliant, old guy looks at him, he goes, you know, Bob, I know everybody says you're crazy. He goes, I didn't want to say anything, but 2 years ago I slept in that room, and I stayed up all night having a conversation with that old woman.
There you go.
And I was sitting there, I'm like, probably in my early 20s, I was sitting there, I was just like, whoa. Because I was right with him, thinking like, oh, God, Bob, this guy's a crazy old.
Yeah.
He's an eccentric old dude. And when Harry said that, I was like, oh, man. Really. And then I slept in that room the next year.
Wow.
And I did not see anything. It was creepy as hell, but it was probably creepy as hell to me because I had heard all the stories.
Yeah.
But I did sleep in it. Full disclosure, I did sleep in it, and I didn't, it did feel eerie to me. It did. But I didn't see an old woman in the rocking chair. And I did. And you can bet your ass I slept with one eye open, staring at that damn rocking chair all night long when I did sleep in that room.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to sleep. There's no way. And with my crazy imagination, I would have been attacked by somebody from that rocking chair. Like, I would have woke up in that room in a dream, in a nightmare, and something would have came, like surreal. That's the type of shit that happens to me, dude. I'm telling you, I have dreams of like Nightmare on Elm Street. I'll wake up in the same setting I am in right now as I'm talking to you, and it'll be an evil setting. It'll look the same, and something happens. I'll fall through the friggin' floor. Or somebody comes in and grabs me, like from the back, and pulls me,
right.
Shit like that, I've had every single thing you could think of, dude. I've even woken up where I think it's a friggin', a friggin' sex dream, and I wake up on this nice, beautiful bed, and I see this friggin' mummy thing behind me, and it sees me, and I see them, and then all of a sudden their eyes go up, my eyes go up, and then friggin' jumps on me like in one of those friggin' like rootin' tootin' things, and takes you down, and you go through the friggin' dust and everything, and you roll with them and everything, and then you gotta bite them to get them off and stuff. It's like so friggin' real. You feel the pain too. You feel the pain, and then you wake up, and then it goes away. But
speaking of Nightmare on Elm Street,
yeah,
don't you have the world record in that game?
I do on the points. The fastest completion, not even close anymore. Years ago, there was a whole entire thing with that, with a corrupted referee and a player that probably doesn't even exist as a real person named Ryan Bland. But the other issue now is people have gotten so good at completing that game really fast. Today it would be, if he was competing in Twin Galaxies, would be Corey Chambers. He's got like a 16-minute run on that game or some shit.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah, it's really fast. I've never really been a speedrunner, man, so it's like,
Yeah, no, I'm not either. I'm not a speedrun guy either.
Yeah, no, I do have the record, though, on the points version for sure, and I intend to keep that.
Splatterhouse record, too. That's a good horror game.
Both Splatterhouses. Eventually, I'm probably going to try, eventually I'm going to take over the MAME score as well, so.
Cool. You have what? You have Arcade and...
Arcade and TurboGrafx, mm-hmm.
TurboGrafx?
Mm-hmm.
Is that for Genesis?
There's a part 2 and a part 3 for Genesis. 2 is points. 2 is also points. It stops at 999,990. And then you've got part 3, but that's not a points-based game. That would be a fastest completion game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool beans. Yeah, I kind of dug Splatterhouse, but that as much as I'm a huge TurboGrafx 16 fan, and
yeah.
Not many of us out there, me and you and Ryan Janot, who we interviewed last week on Settle It on the Screen, guys like us got to stick together because, there's not many TurboGrafx fans out there anymore. But I wasn't ever that big on Splatterhouse, honestly. Maybe just because I wasn't that good at it, but that was not
it was mine, and that was before I even got good at it. I mean, I could tell you stories where I used to play that fucking game and I couldn't even get past, the stage 5 boss, and I'd have to continue over and over again. So, there was a time where I really sucked. I mean, there's a time where I could tell you stories where I sucked at every freaking game. I mean, there was a time where I couldn't even get to the fucking Grim Reaper on Castlevania, for Christ's sake. I couldn't even get to him. Forget about continues. Forget about without dying. I could not get to the Grim Reaper. Frankenstein would either kill me or I'd die in the fucking, the what do you call it, the stage going to the Grim Reaper. I'd get killed by those Axemen because I didn't have the skills or the talent back then to understand how to, figure those people out, and they would just hack me to death.
Creepy video games.
Yeah.
We're trying to, I know people know us from the gaming community, so try to link it back to gaming at least a little bit. But, creepy video games are really a cool phenomenon. Have you ever had a video game where you're just scared to death while you're playing it or when you're done playing it?
Well, Splatterhouse was one of them because when I first started playing Splatterhouse, I was in my original house over in Larchmont, New York, and the room had mirrors. My room had mirrors and black carpet. No joke, black fucking carpet. My brother got stung by a dead bee in there, by the way. I'm not kidding. He stepped on a fucking dead bee and it fucking stung him. The stinger was still in the dead bee. So he actually, and I told him he was so stupid he got stung by a dead bee. Yeah, we never found the bee. We found the bee after he got stung. You know what I mean? The bee died. We thought it was gone. And he ended up walking into the closet and stepping on the bee and falling down. Yep. And then we found the bee. So he got stung by a dead bee. I don't even understand how that's possible. You would think that the venom would lose its potency, but it sure as hell didn't because he went down like a fucking rock and he was like 250 pounds, So with Splatterhouse, yes, the room was all wooden and panel, okay, which gives you that old, Friday the 13th effect. We had the mirrors and the whole room had mirrors on the closets and it was like a triple closet door. So yeah, Splatterhouse was pretty fucking freaky for me with that music and being alone up on the second floor during the day.
Man, I remember when I was a teenager, I remember playing Doom on my parents' computer in the basement.
That shit is fucking scary.
He had done it like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And, turning off the computer, walking upstairs.
I know.
I had to walk up 2 flights of stairs because I'm in the basement at this point. But walking up the stairs in a pitch black house and just thinking I remember, that's one of the, I was so freaked out. I mean, I was convinced a freaking alien monkey was going to jump out at me and attack me.
Oh, yeah.
I was convinced after playing that game all night. And, I didn't even realize how creeped out I was. I mean, I knew I was creeped out, but I didn't realize how bad it was while I was playing it until I turned off the computer in that, my parents' old PC, whatever it was. I don't know, computers. I've never been a big computer gamer. Actually, that was one of the... I could probably count all the computer games I played in one hand in my life, but that was one of them.
Dude, my brother would fucking, turn on Nightmare on Elm Street while I was sleeping in the middle of the night and put the screen next to me with the game playing, so I would eventually wake up and see the fucking screen right in front of me of Freddy's fucking face. I've had that. He one time he turned all the power off in the fucking house and came running out in a Scream outfit. Now see, 25 years ago that was no big deal. You do that today, somebody will shoot you, fucking. But back then, you didn't. I wouldn't think anything of it back then because it wasn't a crazy time like it is today back then. And
I got a story for you.
Yeah.
This is from Eddie Zaharsky did this.
Yeah.
My cousin, guy, he's going to be on the XCast with me tomorrow night in our Secret Societies show.
Yeah.
Yeah, please tune into that on theempiremedia.com, which you already know about because you downloaded this show because you're listening to it. But Eddie, he's famous for, or semi-infamous for just hanging around with a lot of the gamers and causing trouble and being goofy at IFGOF and other places. But he'll be on the show with me. He pulled this prank once. You remember year 2000? When everybody was freaked out, the whole power grid was going to go off, year Y2K, all that nonsense.
Yeah, a lot of us were, yeah, of course. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the whole Y2K thing. Everyone, if you guys listening are too young, back when 2000 happened, there was people that were convinced that the whole power grid and all the computers and everything was going to shut down and that nothing was going to work again.
Right.
When it passed from 1999 to 2000.
Right.
They thought, oh my God, the computers back then, they're not set up to do this. Once it flips to 2000, it's going to all revert back to how it was was in 1900, and we're all going to flip out, and you're not going to be able to flush your toilet, and you're not going to be able to, and the whole power's going to go off everywhere across the city, and everyone's going to freak out, and it's going to be mass hysteria in the streets. And we're like, okay. And there's a lot of people saying, like, I don't think that's going to happen. It's bullshit.
Right.
But we were all at a party for New Year's Eve. And my cousin Eddie, he sets it up to where he's down at the main power at the house, hanging out right at the main.
Yeah.
And while he's up, while everyone else is upstairs counting down, didn't need a watch or anything, everyone else is upstairs counting down. You know, so he's hearing 10, 9, 8, 7, and when people say 1, start screaming, he hits the main on the house.
Oh my God.
And it just goes, and people are like, oh my God, it happened! It happened! I mean, people are running around the house. I mean, this is a big party, and it's not all people we knew really well because we were young and we're, you know, just partiers.
Yeah.
You know, so you got a bunch of just, you know, drunk, stupid, hysteric people running around this house going, oh my God. I mean, I remember here, I was standing next to, like this guy, like, you know, he was there with his, you know, his girlfriend, and he's just, I actually remember his name, I remember her name too, but I'm not going to say it. But he was just like, baby, let's go. We're going to go. Let's just get out of here. I mean, people are freaking out. I mean, for probably 3 minutes, and my cousin Eddie's just down in the basement just cracking up, or down wherever the back, yeah, wherever you had to be to shut the main off on the house. But he's down there cracking up to himself, and there was 3 or 4 of us, me being one of them, who knew that it was, you know, knew that he had planned on doing that. So we just kept quiet. Well, all these people are freaking out until finally, luckily, nobody grabbed a shotgun or anything, or, you know, started going crazy. But somebody just peeks out the window and was like, hey, neighbor's house is still on.
Yeah.
And people are like, wait, what? You guys like, neighbors have power? In fact, all the neighbors have power. People are like, what the hell is that? And then my cousin Eddie flips it back on and walks upstairs, and he's cracking up, and these people are scared to death. They thought it happened. They thought it was over. They thought, you know, oh my God, the entire United States of America lost power. We're done. The grid is destroyed.
So many crazy.
In the Stone Age.
I'm telling you, man, so many crazy things, man. I had the, you know, back in the day when I actually had a basement and everything, and, you know, and all the setup downstairs, the old school setup with the dirt area, almost like a farmhouse, you know, even though it was a home, it was how it was back in the old days. I had the pitchfork on one rack, you had the fucking axe on another. It's just crazy, you know, thinking about all that today, like how crazy the world's been. And then where you have, like the oil burner, my grandmother used to call it the Earl burner, that's how she would talk, and it was the oil burner. And like, you know what my brother used to do, man? He used to fucking go in there, because there was a window to the basement from the fucking oil burner area, so you go down there to work out or something, you go down there to play with your friends or whatever, we go downstairs and play knock hockey, right? And fucking sometimes, he would go and crawl into the oil burner area where it was like, oh, you know, fucking just thinking about it, Jesus Christ, bugs and everything else, you don't even think about it, I guess, we were crazier back then, so he'd crawl into there, and go sit by the window until somebody would look up and see him. And he'd have the big eyes open and everything and just be sitting there in the dark, okay? Imagine pitch black, right? He closes the oil door, you know, because you can go in there. The oil burner's all the way back, so you can actually go in there. You can actually play house in there if you really want to. So he would go in there and hide in there like 20 minutes before, knowing we were going to go downstairs and play knock hockey. You know, he fucking was very, you know, tactful, you know. He'd be like, oh, so what are you guys going to do? Oh, we're going to go downstairs. So he'd wait like 5-10 minutes before, so he'd sit there. You know, somebody would go get a drink out of the refrigerator and he'd be like, who the fuck? I'm like, oh, it's Steven. You know, you catch on after a while. But back in the day, it was fucking really scary because you go down there in the middle of the night and then you turn the light on and you see this fucking big fucking face with a scary face looking at out of a window that's pitch black in the room. There's no light in that friggin' oil burner area. You know, so you just got this white face or whatever, you know, you put his friends in there too, you know, and we had obviously, you know, black friends, Hispanic friends and everything, and they'd go in there and they put their face right up to the window and sit there until you look, and, you know, it'd be really bad if you weren't expecting it. You'd really flip out because you don't know who the hell it is and how they got in there.
That's funny you say it too. I actually have I live in a 100-year-old house here in Detroit, and I actually live in just outside Detroit.
Yeah.
But I actually have a whole fuel oil. My house runs on on fuel oil.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
It's pretty cool, actually. It's really cool.
Taste it.
But that's cool. You don't hear about that much anymore.
No, and I miss it. You know, people used to fucking joke around too. Even our enemies would be like, you know, it's so easy to blow your house up. All you gotta do is put a match in there. My mother used to come out and be like, no, assholes. You can't put a match. If you put a match in there, it's fucking oil. It's not gonna blow up the house, you idiots.
Right. Yeah, no, that's actually, that is a common misconception. Fuel oil is actually like the safest and least flammable thing to have heat your home. It's far less flammable than having a natural gas furnace, or actually propane would be the if one is dangerous at all. And I'm not saying don't freak out if you live in a house that's heated by propane. I'm not saying it's dangerous, but
it can be.
It's far more dangerous and far more flammable than having fuel oil.
It is, and you know what? I remember some idiots on the block that had oil and then changed it to natural gas, and my mother was like, never ever in this house. But we got almost about 10 minutes left, and I wanted to hit some politics. I mean,
sure,
Jesus Christ, you know, I'm just going to say it right now. These snowflakes and cornflakes, if you live in the South, you're a cornflake. If you live in the North, you're a snowflake, and I'll explain that. Cornflake, obviously, you don't get a lot of, winter, so, you can't be really snowflake, so then you're a snowflake if you're up fucking north. But you got snowflakes and cornflakes, okay, frosted flakes, whatever. These weak fucking minded people that don't realize that the Democrats and other leaders started these laws and immigration things to be done within the last 2 decades, and they're fucking calling our president a goddamn dictator. The same assholes that want to send their fucking kids to go see the White House is calling our fucking leader a goddamn dictator and a Nazi. Can you believe this shit?
I can't. Listen, I'll tell you what, Rudy. I don't like the executive order thing. All right? I'm not big on the executive orders. I don't like it. I feel like it's unconstitutional. I didn't like it.
We got to do something, Josh.
I hated when Barack Obama was issuing executive orders, and as of right now, no president has issued more executive orders in American history than Barack Obama.
Right.
But I didn't like that. And now Trump's in here, and he's starting to issue them, and I don't like it. I don't like that he's doing it. It's not so much I have an exact issue with any particular executive order. I don't like the idea of an executive order. And if he keeps it up, the pace of how many executive orders he's done, well, then he's going to break Barack Obama's record pretty quick, and I hope that doesn't happen.
Well,
but one thing I will say, Rudy, listen, I'm not saying I completely agree with this. I got some issues with the immigration ban. I also take a whole lot of issues with people who oppose the immigration ban because of things they say, because I'm so sick of this whole Donald Trump is Hitler thing, okay? It's pathetic.
It is.
It is pathetic. Hitler killed 6 million Jews.
Yep.
Okay? Stop comparing everybody you dislike to Adolf Hitler. There was only one Adolf Hitler. He was one of the biggest bastards that ever lived on this planet. And the idea that because you don't like your president, he's Adolf Hitler. Okay, just cut it out. Now people are protesting, right? People are protesting. And you got people saying, well, that's pure American to protest it. Like, listen, I, of course, as someone that, loves liberty and loves free speech, and of course you have the right to protest. Of course you do.
But you don't have the right to murder, rape, rob, and beat people.
No, I mean, that's an absolute right you have of free speech and protest.
Right.
But with that being said, I mean, this is just my opinion here. This is my right, my freedom of speech right to say this. Protesting is dumb.
Yeah.
Like, why? I'm not saying, of course you have the right. You have the right. I respect your right. I will defend your right to protest and your right to
peacefully protest.
Even when I don't agree with what you're saying, I will defend your right of freedom of speech. But protest, I just don't get it. What is the point of a protest, Rudy?
I don't know. I mean, these people think they're fucking oppressed. They think they're going back in the dark ages, I'm just going to say it straight up, and I don't care if I offend anybody, white, black, Hispanic. Number one, minorities are a more protected class than the white people, so stop fucking talking about white oppression. Second, if you've got a problem and you think that Muslim immigrants should be here and we got to keep paying for everybody and have a revolving door, you know what? Then let's do this. unlock your fucking doors, remove your fences, unload your guns, let people have sex with your children because you want Sharia law, let everybody in here, and then also take all the money you saved, give it to other countries like these asshole corrupted leaders have been doing. Okay, Donald Trump's done more than all of our leaders combined in many years has done in just 1 week. This man has given up his life to take care of us. He ain't perfect, but he sure as hell is not going to let us go down in flames. And then you're like, oh, we're afraid we're going to get attacked. We're afraid. Are you kidding me? We're already getting attacked. People already hate us because we have been snowflakes. We allow everybody to come in here and do what they want. The well is dry. Let another nation take care of people. It's okay to come here legally. Okay, so let me go. Why don't they take my homeless veterans and homeless people off the streets and go and feed them, clothe them, compensate them in other countries? It'll never fucking happen. Is Mexico going to tear down their wall for Guatemala? No. The point is, it's fucking hypocritical. These laws were implemented since day one. We've never enforced them. Obama's talked about them. Hillary's talked about them. Bill Clinton's talked about them. Schumer's talked about them. But no, we're racist. This is not who we are. We can't do this. We can't do that. He lost the election because of 3 billion votes. Yeah, now the voter fraud's being discovered. Already 800,000 have been undercovered already. I mean, come on, dude. When are we gonna fucking wake up?
I will say this, Rudy. They just came out today with the voter fraud for the state of Michigan, where I live. Not a single case of voter fraud. So in my particular state, thus far, Donald Trump and Jill Stein were both completely wrong. Not one bit of voter fraud on either side.
I'm not surprised at Michigan, but I question Minnesota, I question California, Colorado, Nevada. Even New York, and of course, Virginia. Keep in mind, all of those states, except for New York, had voter fraud issues because people were fired from their podiums, and also people were caught voting 5-10 times, and people have admitted to this.
Right.
So
I get that. I mean, hey, listen, like I said, I'm just, okay, one thing, I guess you made a lot of points, but one thing for sure, listen, like I said before, I'm trying to, I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but I'm giving him his honeymoon period. I'm giving him his first 100 days. He deserves that as President of the United States. I did the same for Obama. I've done the same for every president in my lifetime. You deserve your first 100 days. It's a very important part of our political system and our political culture. It goes right along with the whole peaceful transfer of power that they talked about so much on Inauguration Day. Very important stuff. But that does go both ways. I am not going to condemn Donald Trump's actions right away because I feel like we all just have to take a back seat and stop being political and just see what's going on. I'm also not going to pretend like anything he did is great and give him credit for anything because he's only been in there a week, so anything that happened, it's not really because of him just yet. But so I'm just saying it does go both ways. Now, this whole immigration thing, okay, you can oppose it if you wish. It's fine. It truly is. But
Josh, just keep in mind, you've got fucking former
right before we started that said your crazy right-wing friend who says that the other presidents have had immigration bans are just wrong. That was the what's it called? The headline I saw right before this.
You've got...
No, actually, what Jimmy Carter did is very similar to this.
Well, Josh, you've got fucking former radical Muslims that are on our side telling us what we're doing is fine and we have to do what we have to do. Telling us about the ideology of Islam and the ideology of the Muslim religion. Okay? Former radical Muslims coming forward telling us that we're doing just fine. Just telling you. Go ahead.
No, you're right. And we do have to wrap up the show. So, I talked a little long. So, if you want to throw something else out there, Rudy, go for it. But we do have to wrap up the show.
Yeah, we do.
And you know what, everybody, though, listen, just real quick, and I'm gonna pass it out to Rudy, and we're gonna wrap this up. But real quick, Donald Trump's not Hitler, okay? And by the way, you sound really silly when you compare one of the only major leaders in the world. And again, I'm not a Trump fan. I did not vote for the man. But you sound really silly when you take the one major major leader in the world who's defending Israel and call him Hitler.
Mm-hmm. And
okay, you sound stupid, and it's not right. Okay, so but Rudy, wrap us up, man. We're gonna actually, you know what? I'll wrap up the show, then I'll show it to you. But thanks for tuning in to episode number 5. Please tune in also to Deep Issues Secret Society Cast on the Xcast. Check out Settle It on the Screen if you want. On Facebook Live, I make my appearances on there. So does my cousin Nick, my old homeboy Mike Soroka. And close us out, Rudy. What do you got for us?
the bottom line is, you guys need to stop. You want to send your kids to Washington for a president you fucking hate. You guys want to compare us to being, Hitler and Nazis because we voted for Donald Trump. You need to go look at the real laws, and that we have a right to enforce our laws, protect our nation, protect our homeland, and, of course, protect our Second Amendment. So enough is enough, okay? If you have a problem, leave the country. Go live with those people and go take care of them yourself. Stop fucking complaining. We are broke because of it. We need our wealth back, and we deserve to get it back. I'm Rudy J. Ferretti, Josh Houselanders, Rudy Ferretti's Happy Hour. We're out.
See you, buddy. Thanks, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Alrighty.
Whenever we do. All right, thanks.